Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I want this channel to be bigger than rSlash. And we've only got 1.82 million subscribers to go. So hit that subscribe button. We've got a couple of updated epic cheater stories from the Off My Chest subreddit. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Throwaway Together CCC. I'm at a loss as to what to do with my wife's request. My wife and I have been married since 2001 and together since 1999. She is the most intelligent, thoughtful, caring, loyal person I know, and I have always thought of myself as fortunate to have met and married her. She is, even today, aesthetically beautiful, and men have told her this throughout our marriage. She has always shot them down. Earlier this year, she was diagnosed with uterine cancer stage 1 and had a full hysterectomy. I was never concerned about the cancer. It was diagnosed early, dealt with quickly, and she made a full recovery. I took time off work to look after her after the surgery, and all seemed well. There were some to-be-expected emotional instances on her part, and although I am not an emotional person, we dealt with them together. After her recovery, she was insistent that we start living life to the fullest, and took a 10-day trip to Europe, followed by a trip to Belize. We also have a trip to the UK and Spain, Portugal later this year. I am fine with these things, building memories and crossing bucket list adventures off her and our list. I also understand that these are a result of feeling fragile on her part. She also took up yoga, swimming, and healthy cooking classes. I was fully on board until last week. Last week, she came home from work and told me she wanted a hall pass. A one-time opportunity for her to knock boots with someone else besides me. She said that since her cancer diagnosis, her outlook on life has changed, and she doesn't want to be handcuffed from doing things she wants to do. She explained that there is this guy at her work that she has always had some attraction to. He is leaving the company, and she will never see him again. So this is the perfect opportunity to sleep with someone else. She said that I could say no, of course, but that she would be mad and disappointed at me for an indeterminate amount of time, and that it would be a confirmation of my male toxicity and insecurity. I don't consider myself to be toxic, and if not wanting your wife of 20 plus years to knock boots with someone else is insecure, then I guess I am insecure. I told her that I appreciated her talking to me about this, but approval via coercion is not approval. I also said that I do not appreciate her language in describing my, as of yet, unknown reaction to this very large issue that could affect the rest of our marriage and life. I got up in the morning. She basically said that she was sorry for putting such a large decision solely on my shoulders, and that to help, she was taking the decision away from me. She booked a hotel near where her coworkers are having a party and send-off for this guy, and she would spend the night there with him and hope that I would be here when she got back. That she would answer any questions I have about the night after it happened, but not before. She will not tell me who he is or anything about him because she knows me too well, and that I will dwell and obsess over him, and that would make it too real for me, which is pretty accurate. Her point of view is that the less I know, the better, which contradicts the offer to tell me anything I want to know after it happened. I think she knows I won't want to know or ask anything, or she simply will not tell me. Part of me thinks at least she has been honest with me, and she has been through a lot since finding out she had cancer. So maybe I should just let it happen. I certainly have no concept of what she went through, so I cannot dismiss how this affected her mental state and outlook on life. Part of me wants to put my foot down and say, this is not going to happen, and deal with those consequences when they happen. Her BFF called me callous for even suggesting that I wouldn't let it happen, because I have no idea what she went through. I find it hard to believe that she is okay with the possibility of throwing away 20 plus years of marriage over some guy that she has had no relationship with outside of work, and that I should just call her bluff. Maybe she thinks similarly that I won't throw away the marriage because of one encounter. I just don't know what to do. I empathize with her, and then an instant later, I am angry with her. Part of me wants to know who this guy is. What does he look like? What has he got that is so enthralling for her? Is he just a safe option? Is he married? Does his wife know? Would I be a callous butthole for saying no? What can I do besides walking away? Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Binaural Beats. It says, "Kinda think this is the way your marriage will be from now on. With her epiphany, she wants to relive her life and she's going to do it regardless of your feelings. I think she's being rather selfish and probably only threatens this because she thinks you are beaten down and will simply put up with it. Perhaps not the best time for trips and frills. She wants the single life? Let her see what that means." OP, I have to agree with this commenter. She wants the single life, so give her the single life. It's the only way your conscience will be clear, because if you let her do this and you continue your relationship with her, it's always going to be on your mind. There will be no trust there, and she obviously doesn't respect you as a person because she's making a decision without your input. OP, I think that relationship is over. OP for that last story provided an update post. It's called "Update, My Cancer Survivor Wife Wanted a Hall Pass." I received a ton of advice that I couldn't possibly respond to. I do appreciate the people who took time to offer advice in the comments or via PM. It has been an exhausting couple of days. I was hoping that my opposition to her plans would give her pause, but unfortunately, that did not happen. I said I am a hard no, and I am not sure how I will feel about you if you go ahead with it. I was met once again with, "This is for me, it will be one time. What can I say to help you deal with it? You'll get over it. We were meant to be regardless of the situation," remarks leading up to Saturday. She left Saturday ostensibly to meet her coworkers, but in reality, F the guy. I asked her to text me when she was leaving for the bar, and when she did, I asked her if she was really going to go through with this. After her response, "I am not answering any more questions tonight. I will see you tomorrow," I blocked my wife. Then I did something either stupid or brilliant. I went to the bar where the get-together was happening. Well, not the bar, but a transit bench across the street. I waited for a long time. It was running through my mind the lead up to this event that I needed to know who this guy was, maybe to compare myself against him, to see what he had that I do not. It was driving me crazy not knowing who he was, and what was so special about him that she would ruin a marriage for. After what seemed like an eternity, a woman that I recognized from my wife's office left the bar and got in a cab. Soon other people started filing out and a whole group came out and people were hugging a man and shaking his hand. I assumed that I had my guy. I didn't see my wife and had a brief thought that maybe she called it all off. I unblocked her and there were no messages. Everyone said their goodbyes and left. Dude was standing outside for a few minutes, and then my wife came out. She looked around, took his hand, and started walking away together. Of all the emotions I went through, trepidation, sadness, anger, it was disgust that really encapsulated the event for me. This guy was short, fat, and bald. All the things I cannot compete with. Ultimately, I felt like a pervert for watching from a distance, and I followed until they got to the hotel, and then turned around and went home. I woke up Sunday morning and put a lock on the master bedroom door. I moved her things to the spare room and left a note asking her to find other accommodations as quickly as possible. I visited another friend who is a lawyer, and he gave me some sage advice and a couple of recommendations for divorce attorneys and made the introductions. My wife had been calling me numerous times since around 11 or so. Once blocked, the calls go to voicemail. I listened to the first couple, but felt nothing but some satisfaction when she couldn't get through to me, and she was obviously becoming concerned. I didn't want to go home, but I left in such a hurry that I didn't plan an overnight properly. I got home around 9, and as per my buddy's advice, I recorded the interaction. I was halfway up the stairs when she came up from the family room asking what was going on. Could we talk? I thought we talked about this. I just answered with, I am not interested in discussing this tonight, and went to bed. After not getting a response from me through the door, she left me alone. I feel kinda like a child for not talking with her and shutting the door on her, but I just couldn't look at her. Monday, I got up and ready for work. She was waiting for me and asked if we could discuss getting back to normal. I said, you have been doing all the talking for both of us for the last week. Why don't you continue? And left for work. I have an appointment with the attorneys my friend recommended for this week. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called PlantMama929. It says, the fact that she chose another man over her husband who stood by her side while she was sick speaks volumes about her. You deserve better than this. Also, take her off any life insurance you have so she can't claim crap. OP, I'm so glad you came to the decision to get the divorce. You would never trust this woman again. And this is completely her fault. She made the decision to throw away a 20+ year marriage. That should tell you right there what she thinks about you. This story comes to us from ThrowRA551, yep, those numbers there. Caught my boss cheating with his wife's best friend, plus update. Our company was celebrating securing another 5-year contract with a massive client. We do these office parties quite often with every biggish achievement. It's our boss's way of appreciating our work. Bonuses are awarded too, and to boost morale as the workload can get intense. Anyway, the party was well underway in our boss's house. Everyone was drunk, indulging in good food, and generally having a good time. Needing the bathroom, I excused myself and headed for the basement bathroom. Everyone always forgets it's there, so I knew it would be empty. I blame it on the alcohol or perhaps the loud music just above, but I didn't hear anything to give me warning of the horror of what I would witness. Until I stumbled into the unlocked bathroom and saw my boss's wife's best friend, also an employee of his, riding my boss as he sat on top of the toilet. I rushed out immediately after. I didn't even hesitate. I headed straight for the front door, walked for what felt like forever, then called myself an Uber home. This all happened last night, and I've just woken up with a killer hangover, bracing for the impact for the awkward encounter I'll have with my boss on Monday. Laugh out loud. Alright, OP's first update says, update, as many of you have suggested, I wrote a more detailed version of events within my email. I also scheduled a meeting with HR to get ahead of the issue. I had the meeting scheduled on Monday, about an hour before people usually start coming in. We decided to keep the recording of the meeting informal and keep all of the notes in my file simply because it wouldn't lead to an official investigation. The mistress and my boss are in 2 different departments. My boss isn't technically her direct boss, which means the dating rules between them are in a gray area. I don't really care about that anyway, as I was worried about my job security. After HR, the day began as usual. We attended a morning meeting. During said meeting, I noticed how often my boss would avoid eye contact with me, and every time I did look his way, which was often as he speaks the most, he always made it a point to look away from my side of the conference room. Fast forward to around lunchtime, a group of us had ordered in and would work through our lunch together. We do this work through our lunch thing a couple times a week. It's a time for us to bounce ideas off one another, check our progress on various projects, help out where it's needed, etc. It's usually reserved for employees with no senior members, although that's not a rule, it's just what we've always done. So it was strange for our boss to be there. Still, I carried on like nothing was wrong. Towards the end of the lunch, we had gotten to the topic of the party. Someone had asked me of my whereabouts at the end of the night. And at this point, I knew the safest option would be to pretend to be drunk. I even gave my boss a few compliments on the food they had prepared. Everyone around me bought the story with no issues, and I could only hope that my boss did too. Now, on for Tuesday. When things returned back to normal between my boss and I in the morning, I assumed he had believed my story from yesterday. Only now, I see he was merely playing a part. His mistress cornered me into the ladies' toilets. Before this incident, this woman used to be sweet, caring, and a bit of a people pleaser. Think of Charles Boyle from B99, without the office draw bread fermentation. Now, she was a vicious version of herself who was completely unrecognizable. She told me she didn't buy my story, which told me she and my boss had already discussed me. She told me I shouldn't even think of telling the wife because she wouldn't believe some employee over her husband and best friend. True. She threw in a few insults in between it all, then finished it by threatening the ending of my career by mentioning how she has my boss wrapped around her finger. She told me time and time again to keep quiet, otherwise things would get messy. Now, this is the part that fills me with immense joy. To the Reddit user who sent me links to Amazon for spy recording gadgets, you, my friend, deserve the world. I had bought a pen, ready just in case my boss didn't believe my story on Monday. Like many of you suggested, I should be recording all conversations. When he didn't pull me aside for a conversation, the small pen was forgotten on the inside top pocket of my shirt. The pen has no voice command, and basically just records until you hit stop. And since I hit start, the second I walked into the office, it recorded my entire day. So now I'm sitting here on a gold mine, as the mistress just confessed to her crimes, then threatened me if I didn't comply. I'm currently brushing up my CV as my amazing boyfriend sifts through the recording to piece everything together. There probably won't be another update for a while, not until my plan comes together, so until then, Reddit. OP added a couple edits at the bottom. The first one says, "I've had a few people ask me this, so I'd rather reply to it here. Thank you for your concern, guys. I've already checked the laws in my country surrounding recording conversations." Edit number 2 says, "All updates are on my page as they've been removed from off my chest. I know a few of you have been sending me messages for them, so this is just easier than replying to you all." Alright, so as they mentioned, on their page is where we found the next update. It's titled Update 2, I Caught My Boss Cheating with His Wife's Best Friend. Alright Reddit, I know it's been a while, but the update is worth giving, and I'm hoping after this one, there'll only be one left. Since the mistress cornered me, I had every intention of not only exposing the affair to the wife, but the entire office too. I know it's petty and crappy, but she was a bee. I just needed a little time. So I needed time for one of two reasons. One, my company dishes out a massive bonus after 10 years of service. I have been with them since I graduated university, and I knew the 10-year mark was coming in just a few weeks' time. I would have been a fool to pass up that money, and now it's safely in my bank account. 2, I needed to line up another job, which I did at the company my boyfriend works in. He vouched for me, which helped in securing a place and fast-tracking the application process. Now, with the first part of my plan executed, came the second part. A while ago, my boyfriend and I had booked holidays starting from last week and ending in 2 weeks' time. By sheer luck, these holidays couldn't have come at a more perfect time. During the first week, besides seeing SZA and Beyonce perform, highlights of the month so far by the way, I received and accepted an offer at my new place of employment and handed in my resignation at my current place of employment, which means I will now be working my notice period at 5-star all-inclusive resort in Mexico. Don't worry, I've reread my contract 100 times. They only require you to work a notice of 2 weeks, but sometimes ask if you can stay until they find cover. My old workplace offers and encourages ex-employees to complete an exit interview. I was more than happy to comply to this. After the basic questions of, what's it like to work there, were you pleased with the salary and benefits, blah blah blah, you get the gist, came the question I was most excited for. What are your reasons for leaving, company name here? Let me tell you, I answered that question with great detail, from the office party to where the first incident took place to the threat I received when I was cornered in the ladies' toilets. I even went on to explain that I had evidence supporting my claims. I was clear in that the only reason I was leaving was the fear of my job security, that I would miss my team dearly, which I would, and that I hoped this wouldn't happen to another employee. Now part 3, after a simple Google search, I found my old boss's wife's work email address. It's a little alarming how easy it is to find people's info online these days. In great detail, I once again explained my version of events, including a little audio file just in case she didn't believe me. I explained to her that she was free to do as she pleases with the information, as I no longer worked at the company. I've even reached out offering my support, along with an amazing family lawyer who happens to be my boyfriend's sister-in-law. That woman is a beast in the courtroom. Once I found out you could watch random court procedures, it became a hobby for my boyfriend and I to watch in the back of the courtroom, truly relishing in the drama. Sorry for the detour. I also mentioned to the wife my intentions to expose her husband to the office. I feel a little guilty having to embarrass her like this. If they were so careless about their affair, it leads me to believe others may know and have kept it quiet due to fear. I've been fortunate enough to find other employment much faster than I had originally predicted, but I know my experience isn't the same for many, and I wouldn't allow the mistress to instill fear in anyone in my old team. They're all amazing people with families to support. After I sent that email, I sent out a message to my old work group chat, again explaining the true reason I left, along with the voice recording. I encouraged others to go to HR if they have experienced a similar situation, and to not live in fear. I could only hope they listened to this. This was all done an hour ago, a time where everyone back home would be asleep. By morning, I'm sure everyone, including the HR team, would have seen everything. I'm nervous, a little excited, but overall sad. Sad for the wife. She's losing two of the most important people in her life. Sad for myself. I truly loved my job along with the people too. They were all so welcoming when I started. Sad for the person I once thought my boss was. He was such an inspiring guy. Gave me more responsibility than I thought I could handle, but he had so much faith in me. He's done a really crappy thing to someone he claims he loves. I mean, of all people he could have chosen, why the best friend? Why is it always the best friend? Anyway, that's the update for now. I'm sure once the messages pour in, once everyone is awake, I'll have another update ready. I promise to have it out as quick as I can, as I want to sip and enjoy these cocktails without the constant messages to updates. Just kidding. Until next time, Reddit. OP added a quick update at the bottom. It says, edit, this update was made last night, meaning the responses of the last update are in and should be coming soon. I'll try and do it before I go to sleep, depending on how many cocktails I have today. Alright, on OP's profile we find update number 3. It's titled Update 3, I caught my boss cheating with his wife's best friend. This will likely be my last update. I'm going to try and include as much detail as I can without droning on. Although it would simply be easier to do it with screenshots. Let's start with HR. I found out from my colleagues that they haven't reviewed the exit video I made yet. To be honest, I didn't think it would be their top priority. It wasn't until the rumor mill of the whole situation reached them. After they did, I received an email today from the head of HR. As expected, she was shocked to find out the real reason I left, as I assured her a few times after our first meeting that things were fine. She relayed her concerns along with well wishes at first, but of course, she had to do her job, and through ambiguous language, it was clear she was trying to gauge what evidence I had, and how badly it implicated the mistress along with the company too. I simply replied back that any discussions we needed to have would be when I'm back in the UK, and with a lawyer present. She has yet to respond with a time and date. So let's start with the group chat. Keep in mind, it doesn't include all the people I work with, obviously, just the ones in my department and the ones I make plans with outside of work. As expected, the group chat has been lit up since the whole ordeal, and the jokes are still coming in as I type this. Most people were shocked, and few have said they've always suspected the two, but they chalked it up with reading too much Wattpad types of books. Needless to say, they are reeling in the drama. They've also informed me that my boss, despite booking a holiday himself for the week, had been called into meetings with HR and a few higher-ups. I doubt I would hear more from this, not unless someone had insider knowledge. What surprised me was that I received an email in my personal inbox from one of my colleagues, someone who's not in my department, and someone I don't have regular contact with. I won't go into too much detail, but basically, y'all were right. I wasn't the only one who's caught them mid-action. Only they didn't see my colleague, and at the time, he was with his now girlfriend, another company employee, so they just kept their mouths shut. As for the wife, I honestly expected harsh retaliation. In fact, I had drafted a skeleton email to respond to if need be. She completely surprised me. She was extremely apologetic for the whole situation. She knew how much I looked up to my boss and expressed how deeply sorry she was on behalf of her husband and best friend. She revealed to me that she and her husband were in the midst of separating. Although she didn't reveal the reason behind the separation, I'm sure we can all assume. Apparently, he was to use his week off to move his stuff out from their house and into an apartment. And now, with this new evidence, she's decided not to delay any further, and she will be divorcing him. She joked in appreciation for using my boyfriend's sister-in-law as a lawyer, but of course, she already has one. We ended the emails with a light felt goodbye and good luck to our new futures. Keep in mind, everything she tells me, I have to believe at face value. I don't really know this woman, and talking through the emails and messages, you can never really gauge how genuine people are. But at this point, I choose to believe her as she hasn't given me a reason not to. I'm sure you guys are a little disappointed about the anticlimactic responses, but honestly, I'm so over the drama. I'm glad things are seemingly slowing down. Now I can relax, drink myself stupid with my boyfriend, and if you have any activity recommendations for Cancun, let me know. We're up to trying anything. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Newfella. It says, I hate that you're going through this, but I'm terribly addicted to the drama. Please keep us updated. OP, I completely agree with this comment right here. If you have any more updates, we're looking forward to having them, and I'm looking forward to getting them out to my audience, because this story is one of the best ones I've ever read on the KCC channel, and I think my audience is really going to enjoy this one. OP, I sincerely hope you enjoy Cancun, and put this whole thing behind you for the time that you're there, because you don't need it on your mind. Enjoy your time, free and clear with no worries.